TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 30th of July. Well, we're about to end the month, and what a spectacular one. I mean, to me, this market is delicious because let's just follow it. From 5K, let's just follow the paint bars here. We turned green. Okay, buy. It turned magenta for the sell, 27 plus. Okay. Then we do it on the reverse side, coming back down from that same entry. Okay, you got another, what is that? It's hard to read right there. Let's get this one clicked on just so we can see it. Uh, Another 33. All right, but then we have to put that one back at the open to the long side, which would be right there. And then we get another 25. Well, I moved the wrong one. Let's just get it so it's accurate. There we go. Okay. Anyway, the broader sense of it is, it's 20 some points this direction coming back up. Fine. Already if you just stopped there, you're almost at 100 points. Well, let's see, 50, 60, 70, 80 points. So not bad. That's all dwarfed by what happens right after this. And we just follow the pink bar. Boom. Yeah, no change. Just keep following the paint bar all the way to here. Another 90 points. That's 170 points right there. We're mid morning. No big deal. You get another 30 coming back up. Now you're at 200 points. Okay. Another 25 coming back up. Minor 10-point gain, 11 and a half going back down. You're 240 points plus another 40. You're 280 points. And then later in the afternoon, right, let's make sure we get this on the right spot. We get another 90 plus points. Could be more. I would have worked the program because the point where you were getting the rising gold in that. But regardless, just following the paint bar, it's another 90 points. You're almost at 300 points on ES contracts in a day. You do the math. That's roughly 15,000 per contract, one day. We've been doing this. How many days we've been showing this? Ridiculous. I know, but doesn't require much effort other than just being able to see red or green. It's kind of funny. Not as helpful for a 50K in this because we've been in this consolidation. But it's expressed very clearly in the 5K chart, and that's where that lower time frame, getting closer to the action, allows the ability to be flexible with that trend. Uh, Still fine seeing it from the downside move from the broader aspect. It's still the same, and we're still looking at that same 74 range. That was sort of a balance above and below, and now it's getting harder to get above it. So we see that play out. Your Bitcoin still holding the same. The real excitement came in the euro, the U.S. demise as they see it, their ability to rapidly spend. And that was all built on the huge increase in oil prices. Now, again, we talked about this was part of the playbook. We expected price to come down. At that point, they would be able to re-engage and drive past back up again, claim peace again, see if they can get a further drop. If you look at the visuals from the Gulf of America, staggering amount of tanker traffic in that. This is where you've seen a major shift from the Middle East to the Americas for oil. If they're able to infrastructure-wise get Venezuela on track, eh, are you seeing that at the pump? No, because that's a separate issue of how the oil is traded and who's in control of what. And of course, from a European standpoint, an Asia standpoint, it's difficult because they've got to pay the premium for the distance extra. So that's a problem. And will that get worked out? Well, eventually, but from a Trump perspective, it's about canceling out the European and Asian influence and moving things back towards dominance by America from energy efficiency. But the only reason you would do that too is if you know that the transition from oil at some point is going to start fading. So whether or not they believe that nuclear or whatever from these fusion reactors and advance in technology is going to shift that, that would be the reason that the U.S. would get rid of their strategic reserve as far as unpumped oil. The whole reason we never pumped before was always that reality was, well, when the world runs dry, we'll still have plenty. Well, if you don't need it any longer, you might as well use it. Otherwise, you just wasted that asset just sitting there. And so pumping it all now. Now, so we look at our NQ. Yeah, well, we have this line, positive extreme retrace, fine. And secondary one all the way back here, which takes us back to fill in towards April. Got halfway there. We're bouncing back from it at this particular stage, and that's normal when you get that kind of a down day. You get the move up. What was crazy about this down day is that you went down that far, shot all the way back up to positive, and then fell back down. That's some impressive volatility. You got to love that. That was what was represented in that 5K chart that was so fantastic. So from that standpoint, you can see that the ES with its MBI white lead has filled into the zero and bouncing off that at this particular stage. You also had just that brief dip below orange of the green, not likely sustainable. So likely we're going to still see continuation of that because we're still caught with orange between cyan and red. No change in that reality. So yeah, anyone who's having difficulty with this market is just obviously not using the right indicators because it's pretty clean and straightforward. I don't think it can get easier than what I just displayed there on that 5K. You could be done for a couple of weeks at that one day. And we've been doing that for days and days and days. So wild stuff, but all good. Anyway, anything relevant, I'll put on the team chat. Have a good one. Trade well.